Alright, what is up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about my absolute favorite topic, my favorite deck in One Piece TCG, Black Yellow Charlotte Linlin. That's right guys. Here I was, just going through my, daily routine to see what's going on, checking out the channels, see what new videos are coming out for the community. And Eggman put out a video. Definitely go check out his channel if you get a chance. Check out his channel, check out his website. He always has great content on there for One Piece and other card games as well. But check out this list. Top 16. They got 13th place. Top 16 Black Yellow Charlotte Linlin OP-05 in the West in a 128 player tournament. Guys, how awesome is that? This list, by the way, very similar to what we're running these days. This is very similar to what we looked at with Los Fiends deck. Another great YouTuber to check out, Los Fiends. But it's got some other stuff going on as well. So real quick, before we get into the list itself, I just wanted to show, so I saw it on here. You can go check out all the different decks that played in the tournament over on Eggman's website, which is just eggmanevents.com. 1G, by the way, it's not like an egg, it's EG, eggmanevents.com. So real quick, this tournament was 128 players. NL got first place, and by the way guys, NL's been doing very well in the West in OP-05. And guess what guys, Black Yellow Charlotte Linlin, one of our best matchups is NL. NL and Zoro are probably our best matchups. And there are some modifications you can make to the deck to make it play better into Purple Luffy. And Blue-Black Sakazuki is about a 50-50 actually. It depends on how well you set up into the late game. Anyway, long story short, this was a 128 player tournament, 7 rounds. The Black Yellow Linlin list got 13th place, as you can see right here, by this guy named Mozai Nelson. Big grats to him. And just really, really cool. Just to break down the tournament real quick, so that we can get into the deck list. There were 5 NLs, 4 Sakazukis, in the top 16 that is. 5 NLs, 4 Sakazukis, 2 Luffys. This is OP-05 Purple Luffy. 1 red-green Trafalgar Law got 2nd place. 1 red-purple Trafalgar Law, Black Yellow Linlin, of course. 1 red Zoro, and 1 Catak Curry. So, here's one thing I'll say. It makes me very happy to not see an Edward Newgate until you get to, top 20 down here, if you can see that. Because one of the harder matchups for Black Yellow Linlin is actually Catak Curry and Newgate. And I will definitely say red-green Trafalgar Law is no easy task to deal with, but I do think with the addition of Gadatsu and Rebecca, I think we have a lot more options to deal with Trafalgar Law now, but it's still a very hard game. So yeah. And speaking of which, I am trying to get a interview with this guy, Mozai. He responded to a message over on Eggman's video of this. He responded, and I replied to his message, and I'm going to try to set up an interview with him if he's interested. If he's not, it's not a big deal. But 5-2, awesome. So let's go ahead and just dive into the list right now. This is the list. And I'm just going to remove Big Mom so it it lines up better. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Allergies. So I'm going to read through the list real quick, and then we're going to talk about everything individually. Excuse me. 1 Manchuri, 4 Rebeccas, 4 Bartolomeos, 3 Kobe. Very nice. We'll definitely talk about that in a second. 4 Tashigi, 4 Khalifa, 3 of the Tashigi, when attacking, Dawn ×1, when attacking, -3 Tashigi. No counter, but still. 4 Borsalino, excuse me. 4 Sabo, 4 Gadatsu, 3 Sakazuki, 3 Yamato, 3 Charlotte Linlin, the Tin Lin, 2 Great Eruptions, 2 Narakabura Arrows, and 2 200 million volt Amarus. Guys, this is so cool. This is an awesome list to look at. And for those who don't know, or if you don't follow the channel as much, or if you haven't heard me talk about it previously, Black Yellow Linlin is what I main most of the time, ever since I started playing the deck in OP-03. Ever since a viewer actually of my channel introduced me to the deck, because I wasn't even going to play it. They were like, oh, you should try this. I tried it, ended up loving the way the deck plays and the versatility and utility that it has with black and yellow, gaining life and all that. But real quick, one thing, the direction that I've been taking black-yellow Linlin is actually away from a lot of the black support and going more into like full-on yellow with a little bit of black support. Like black support being like the Navy stuff like Borsalino, Sabo, Bartolomeo 2K counter, of course, Tashigi or Suru, and a little bit, Rebecca I've been on and off on. But in this list, Rebecca makes a lot of sense. So let me explain real quick why I've been going into yellow so that I can segue it into this deck. One thing that was just absolutely shutting me down was purple Luffy, red purple, and red purple Luffy. They had too much tempo going into the mid and late game. That's where this 3-cost Tashigi and 3-cost Kobe can be pretty beneficial for what you're trying to do, right? Because it can help you combat their mid game, at least to some extent, especially Tashigi comboing with Gadatsu if you go second. And typically speaking, you want to go second so that you get a turn 5 Charlotte Linlin, right? Turn 4, or excuse me, let me say turn 3, you're either going to be able to go, you know, Gadatsu plus a Great Eruption, or Gadatsu plus the Tashigi, or just straight up Sakazuki. You know, just extremely powerful tempo. Sakazuki's incredible. By the way, you can get it back with Rebecca now. You know, just extra value, extra versatility, all that good stuff. What else was I going to say? Oh, but back to the yellow version that I've been running lately, which I will do a deck tech on eventually. I will reintroduce the list that I'm running in the near future here. The thing about going yellow is it allows you to go Catak Curry's engine, right? The whole, you know, mono yellow Catak Curry leader. You can basically just go his draw engine, where it's like turn 1, you have a play in pudding, playing first, by the way, going first. So it's like 1 Dawn pudding, 3 Dawn Sparrow, 5 Dawn. Now we have Gadatsu, or you could still run Randolph, but I'd recommend Gadatsu because we have the cost reduction in black. And then 7 Dawn, you're going straight into 7 Lin. And you have the pudding and the Sparrow to help you get to your 10 Lin at some point in the game. It's been going very well for me on the sim lately, guys. And like I said, I will eventually share that list. But let's focus on this list and something that I love about it that reminds me of the direction I'm going with the mono yellow. That being the 3-cost Tashigi. This is now a great just turn 2. Plop this card down, and it's going to allow you to have a bigger range on your Gadatsu next turn, or Sakazuki, or technically Yamato further down the line. I think a lot of people are probably running Hina in this spot. I can see where you'd run Hina here, because they're both 3-cost 5Ks. It comes down to what do you want? Do you want to be able to have the on play, which goes a little bit better with the Rebecca blocker? Or would you rather have this character that sits on the board and is a looming threat for later, for when you attach 1 Dawn to swing 6, you're going to be able to -3 something, and then smack, you know, pop it with your Gadatsu, Sakazuki, or Yamato. Or Kobe, of course. Kobe's here as well. Now, Kobe does work incredibly well with Rebecca, obviously, because you're going to be able to, you know, Rebecca back, grab, you know, play Rebecca, grab back a 2K counter or a blocker or a, you know, some type of KO character, and then just play out your Kobe. Or you could just play Rebecca, grab Kobe from trash, and KO with Kobe, right? That is an option. Really interesting stuff there. Sherry kind of just makes it where you have 5 Rebeccas instead of just 4. It's kind of that extra utility you need to get back Rebecca, so you can keep doing other shenanigans, getting your blockers and getting your extra value in that way. And it ends up kind of being a pseudo blocker as well. Your Sherry does, because they have to KO that thing. They can't just let it sit on the board. Excuse me. Now, Tashigi, Khalifa, excuse me, guys, I'm sorry about my allergies. Bartolomeo, Tashigi, and Khalifa, these are specifically in the deck so that you can get them back with your Sherry or your Rebecca as 2K counters. Tashigi and Khalifa are going to be good for a few things where you can -2 to their Dawn, or with Khalifa, or -2 to their cost, excuse me. Khalifa has on play, you know, draw 2, trash 2, so it's like a mini Sabo. That gives -2 to a character for the turn. Excuse me. And then Kobe, of course, like we were saying, that's a 1K counter, which you can KO with. And then there's Bartolomeo, which is a nice 3-cost blocker you can snag back with your Rebecca or Sherry. Just excellent stuff here. By the way, for those who don't know as well, Bartolomeo goes very well with Sabo, where you can go, you know, for 3 Dawn play Bartolomeo, for 5 Dawn play Sabo. Now they both can't be KO'd until your next turn. So it does kind of forces your opponent to have to deal with it as opposed to removing it or KOing it. Good stuff there. Everything else is pretty straightforward. Sabo, Gadatsu, of course. Gadatsu's going to have a lot of synergy, you know, with Tashigi, with Khalifa, with the Tashigi 3 cost 5k when attacking, and the Great Eruption. Sakazuki, I'm starting to see this pop up more and more. I think people have neglected this card for a while because back in the day, it was, yes, excuse me, the card is absolutely incredible, right? The card is absolutely incredible. 6 cost 7k KO of 5 or less on play. But trashing a card from hand was kind of hard for you to pull off running a black deck. Well, now guess what? If you trash the card from your hand, you can just use Rebecca to snag it back. So just perfect, just awesome. I'm glad to see this card back. This card has won me many games, many games. Excuse me. Yamato, just a nice, you know, we all know what Yamato does. We know what Charlotte Linlin does. A lot of us have been running Great Eruption. It's good to see this in there. Good to see Narakabura Era back, because I always thought this card plus Yamato was just incredible. It was just sensational. But I will say, towards the end of me running, I've actually been slightly going away from Yamato because I'm building so much tempo early game with that you know, the little mini Catak Curry engine. So, but I'll talk about that later. I'm probably going to end up going to 1 or 2 of these, in which case running Narakabura Arrow just makes total sense, right? And then last but not least, this is a card that I've been messing with lately. It's in the deck right now, right behind me on the table behind me. 200 million volts Amaru. Why wouldn't we run this card? Especially in the version that I'm running with Pudding. You can actually, you know, use Pudding to swing after using this effect if you needed to. You know, it's just an extra option. You know, if you're running a more tempo version of the deck, you can aggressively take life to turn on your 200 million volts Amaru early. And if you can turn on your 200 million volts Amaru, remember, this isn't a mono yellow deck. This is a black yellow deck. So we do have access to Great Eruption, making you, you know, be able to tap down a 6 or less, or a 7 or less if you're using this Tashigi. You know, there's all these extra options. So in other words, if they play one of those pesky 5-cost blockers like Queen or Eustace Kid, well, not a big deal. We actually can just go Great Eruption to draw a card, first of all, and then -2 to their cost, and then tap them down. Now we're going right over the top of them. We don't even care about them. Very solid. Very good stuff here. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Again, I'm super stoked to see that this list got top 16. Seeing that progress, guys, I'm telling you, you know, for anyone listening, in my personal opinion, let me go back to the results real quick. So here's the leader breakdown. You have to think of it like this. A black-yellow Linlin, which was represented by less than 5 players. Like, there were less than 5 players in a 128-player tournament played black-yellow Linlin. And, in fact, it was probably just this one guy, right? And he got 13th place with it. This is a great opportunity for people. If you want to beat the meta decks right now, there's a list I'm working on. Like I said, I'm going to talk about. I have it in my tutorials right now. I've done a tutorial on NL, Purple Luffy, and Red Purple Luffy. You can check those out if you want to and see what list I'm running, because it is in there. But I'm going to do a video on that soon, talking about how, guys, I think we have a favorable matchup into NL and definitely Zoro. But then we have like a 50-50 matchup into Purple Luffy and Sakazuki. So why wouldn't we try, you know, why wouldn't people try to see what they can do with this deck now? Because I get in the past, there were certain matchups in the format that were overwhelmingly, you know, the majority of the format, like Whitebeard, for example. Whitebeard was actually a very, very hard list for us to deal with. I think it's better now, by the way. I do think we have a better chance against it now than we ever have, especially if you build into the more aggressive version of the deck that I've been tampering with lately. But now that the deck's not run as much, OP-05 has other options now, even Red Purple Luffy, which we can also deal with the deck. Catak Curry still has a spot there, and it really does come down to almost being a direct mirror match. Black Yellow Linlin versus Yellow Catak Curry, when they're both running the Big Mom Pirates engine. It almost becomes a mirror match where, yes, they get to start with one more life than you, but you can always gain life with your leader's effect. and you're going to have the cost reduction to be able to KO their bigger characters that they won't be able to do. So yeah. Like I said, the last two decks that I think are somewhat rough to deal with would actually be red-green Law and maybe red-purple Law. I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of playtesting against red-purple Law, but the little bit of playtesting I have had has been pretty successful. Like pretty good matchup. And who knows, you know, it is just sim matchup, so the players might not be as good as a tournament player. But still, you know, it's at least something to go off of, knowing that we can win. And red-green Law, that was one of my biggest banes. It was like the biggest bane of my existence way back in OP-03. But now we're in OP-05, and I think we have way more tools to deal with them now, and I think the matchup is definitely better than it used to be. Like, we're talking, that was before Yamato, whatever. That was before a lot of things. And with the list that this guy was running that we were just looking at, he has quite a bit of removal early on. Like, he's got the Kobe's on turn 2. He's got the Gadatsu turn 3, or Sakazuki. Of course, the Yamato. He had, you know, just a lot of really interesting options here. So, okay, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there for now. If you got any comments or questions, please do not hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. I was so excited to do this video, guys. I was at school today, and by the way, today was the last day of school. At the time of me recording this, today was the last day of school before the winter break. So now I've got a whole 2 weeks off where I think I can actually go play in some tournaments. I haven't played in a tournament in about 3 or 4 weeks. So it was just like, it was just a great day. You know what I mean? It's like I log in, you know, and I see this deck, and I'm like, oh, great. You know, I can't wait to talk about that. It's the last day of this year, technically, you know, before we start up school again next year in 2024, blah, blah, blah. All right, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not already. And until next time, guys, peace.